Okay, so the first thing you want to do is put a piece of tape across your paper. This is going to leave a white space for when we put the writing on. Then I'm taking a heart-shaped cookie cutter. I'm taking some of my red paint and just putting some paint along the cookie cutter. I'm going to use it as a guide for my heart. You can just draw the hearts on if you want. You don't have to use something like this, but I wanted to make sure that both of my hearts were exactly the same size. So this way, I'm just using it as a rough guide so that I can have everything the way I want it to be without anything going awry. Sometimes it's okay to have shapes that aren't exactly symmetrical and perfect, but I wanted it very symmetrical for this. So I'm just pressing those down and getting a rough guide, and then I can use my paintbrush to paint in the heart. I'm going to fill this in. I'm using a red. You use whatever color you want, and you don't actually have to even do hearts. You can make whatever shape you like, but I am for this one, I'm doing red and I'm doing hearts because it is Valentine's Day coming up after all. Once I've finished painting in the basic shape, I'm putting some extra water and paint on my brush and just tapping my brush to flick some of the red paint off so that I get some little splashes of the paint on my picture. The next thing I'm going to do is actually lift a little bit of the red paint off to create a little bit of a highlight. It just gives the illusion of the heart not being quite so flat on the paper. It makes it look a little bit more 3D. So I'm just, with a clean brush, I've got just plain clean water on it, and I'm just wiping off a little bit of the paint. This works when the paint is not very dry. It also can work with dry paint, but my paint is still just a little bit wet, so it was a little bit easier. And it's not making a completely white space, but it does just lift it a little bit. And then for the fun part, I'm going to take my gold paint. I'm going to put some water on it so that it gets activated, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did with the red. I'm going to paint it around the cookie cutter, and then I'm going to place the cookie cutter on my heart. So I'm going to do it a couple of times. I don't want it to be exactly on the line of the heart. I want to be able to make it so that it's a little bit off-centered, but that's how you get this cute whimsical look. And I'm going to do it a couple of times with the gold paint to outline the hearts that I have on. Next, I'm going to do the same with a smaller cookie cutter, still the same shape, the heart. I'm going to put the gold around it, and then I'm just going to press this gold in a couple of places around the red hearts. I just want to add some extra sparkle and some extra heart shapes around the outside of the card. I need to take the green tape off, but I don't want to rip the card, and sometimes that can happen, and so I'm using my hairdryer just to blow it a little bit and get some heat on that tape. It helps to release the glue so that it won't rip the card. So that's a good tip for those of you who are using tape on any kind of watercolor paper. Heat it up a little bit and it will come off very easily if the glue has been heated up. So once you take the tape off, it will leave you with a lovely clean line in order to either put some writing, or you could use some stamps. You could even paint something on, or you could leave it blank. It's up to you, but it does leave you with a really nice clean line. I wanted to write opposites attract on my card, but I was a little bit afraid that I would destroy it and wreck what I had done so far, and so I made sure I used pencil before I put the pen down and before I really committed with what I was doing. I wanted to make sure that it was spaced properly. Once I was happy with the spacing, I erased the pencil marks, and then I got ready to write it with the pen knowing that I would not be running out of room. I did end up going over it with a different pen that was just a little bit thicker once I was happy with my spacing. I just wanted the pen to stand out a little bit more than it had with the first pen that I used. And for the last step, I just decided to put a few little dots of gold around the writing along that strip there. So it just gave it a little bit of extra sparkle. So there you have it, an easy and simple Valentine's card that you can make with watercolor. Hey, I would love to know if you make one of these. Let me know in the comments below how it went for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.